Another star witness taking the stand in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Scott Cudi, also known as rapper Kid Cudi, just finished testifying about what he says happened with Combs in 2011 and 2012. Cudi had a brief relationship with Cassie Ventura during this time, and Combs allegedly made threats against him because of it. Cudi testifying that he believes Combs actually broke into his house and testified that a few months later, a Molotov cocktail was placed on his Porsche, damaging his car. He told the jury he reached out to Combs after his car caught fire and described him with his hands behind his back like a Marvel supervillain. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his defense team says any sexual encounters were all consensual. Legal contributor Eric Faddis joins me now for more. So, Eric, what do you think? How does Cudi's testimony impact Combs' arson charges and the racketeering conspiracy counts that he faces, you think?
Yeah, Kira, I think we're firmly moving into RICO territory here. We're getting past some of the sex trafficking allegations, talking about a criminal enterprise that was allegedly engaged in committing crimes. And so Kid Cudi's testimony goes to trying to prove some of those predicate offenses. He says that Diddy and his team burglarized his home after Diddy found out that he was dating Cassie Ventura, and then shortly thereafter blew up his vehicle, which goes to arson. And so that was really the thrust of the testimony. That was the prosecution's purpose for putting him on. There were some points scored by defense as well. It was some colorful testimony.
So there was also a moment where the defense team was worried about Cudi talking about, was it trauma to his dog, what his dog faced when he believed Combs broke into his house, because there may be dog lovers on the jury, and this could influence how they feel about their decision. What do you make of that?
Yeah, Kier, what they were talking about is a rule under the law that prevents any side from kind of inflaming the passions of the jury, from unduly prejudicing in an unfair way the defendant, but by bringing out testimony that isn't necessarily central to any of the charges, but could really, make somebody cringe and say, "Oh my God, that's terrible." And that's why defense wanted to keep out that information about the dog, because it's not really central to any of the charges or anything, and it really has the possibility of rubbing this jury the wrong way and causing them to kind of hate Diddy, and possibly using that as a potential basis to convict him.
One more question, Eric. George Kaplan, the first person granted immunity in this case, wrapped up his testimony about working for Combs. What stood out to you from that testimony?
Nothing. It was not overly compelling for one side or the other, and that's been a bit of a trend, I think. In my appraisal, some of the prosecution's case has been rather underwhelming. Looked really good on paper, and they talked a big game, but having him come in there, he talked about being involved in like setting up things and having bags with party favors and what have you. None of that really qualifies as a predicate offense under the RICO Act, and I imagine the jury was not overly moved one way or the other.